Okay, so I finally get to make a video about a real character. Today I'll be looking at Ekko. Most of these POVs are Stalker from the Stockholm Grand Finals that just happened. And I want to talk about how to play Ekko. Now, Ekko is a character, usually when she's meta, there's an Ekko on both teams. So there's a lot of dynamics to this that'll be Ekko versus Ekko, how they interact with each other, and then how that duel kind of interacts with the rest of the team. Because there are comps like Dive Ekko, where the comp is basically just an Ekko duel with 4 supports on each team. And there are comps like this where Ekko is kind of just a supporting character who has high overall damage and a good ult. They're kind of different, but a lot of the same positional and Ekko versus Ekko comps or concepts apply. So what do I want to talk about? There's 3 big things. The first thing is, what are we shooting at in the neutral and what are we looking at in the neutral, right? So if we're just shooting them and they're shooting us, there's no ults in the fight, nobody's engaging or pinning or any of that kind of stuff. What am I looking at? When can I fly? What am I trying to do? Am I trying to reach for the backliners? Am I trying to just shoot the frontliners? And like, what's my goal in that neutral? Like, am I trying to force CDs from the front line? Am I trying to look for a fly on their Ekko or their Juno, or what am I doing? The second thing is, when can I actually make successful reaches on the enemy backliners, specifically the Juno? And what do I need in order to get that kill without me dying? Or if I'm going to die, like, I'm getting more value than they are out of killing me, right? So when do I need to look for that? When should I look for it? And what do I need to make it work? The third thing is copy usage. And copy usage is a bigger deal than most of the other ults in this comp, to be honest. Most of the other ults are just about timing and farming them as much as possible. Copy, obviously, there's a lot of a farming element to it, but even though most of the copies are Reaper copies, it actually can be used in a lot more different ways than almost every other ult in this comp. Almost every other ult, you're just trying to pop it and kill the person in front of you, where copy kind of has a little bit more nuance to it. So I'll spend the last part of the video on that. But the first thing, those neutrals, let's take a look. This first fight, both teams roll out the same way. So I have a couple options approaching this neutral. The first thing I can do is I can just shoot frontline, right? I can look for the Malga, I can look for the Reaper, and I can say, if I can do more damage to these people and I can force their CDs early, then my frontline can walk hard and we can take more space and we can win that way, right? The second option is I can look to find this Ekko, I can look to find this Juno, and I can either look to reach them and kill them if it's really easy, and that's kind of more up to them playing badly than it is on you playing good. Or if I'm doing it and they're playing well, I'm just going to kind of zone them out of the fight. And I'm shooting them and they're having to back up. And then my team can win by these people being out of the fight, and I can kind of turn and shoot and these people can't do anything, right? So when do I look for each? Well, the big trigger in this fight is fly usage. So if you're an Ekko and you're in the neutral and you fly for no reason, right? This fly can't be punished, right? So it's at least good in that aspect that he's not flying up and in, right? So Stalker can't just reach in and kill him. But the problem is, this fly is a big trigger for Stalker to say, I can fly now, because since he's saying doesn't have fly, I can't be punished for this. And if I can just fly over here and shoot these people, zone back the Juno and the Ekko, right? Obviously, I'll kill them if I can, if I had to stickies and beam, sure. But even if I don't kill them, I'm zoning them away from the rest of their team. They can't play in the E. The Ekko has low damage, the Juno has low healing, and we're just going to, my front line is all going to stack together and we're going to kill the people left in our space, right? So he's playing this kind of gatekeepy style because he heard the enemy Ekko fly. And this is your biggest trigger in the neutral. If enemy Ekko ever flies, even if you can't punish her off of it, you can fly and start doing whatever you want, and you can start zoning these people or killing them if they're in your space, right? If this doesn't happen, then I might shoot her, right? If I can shoot her, but mainly I'm just looking to try and, if the Reaper's available, I want to force this fade, right? If not, I'm just shooting the Malga in front of my ult, and I'm kind of waiting for this to happen or for backliners to walk up. The neutral's not that much more complicated than that, to be honest. So when can we reach for backliners? So when do I want to reach for backliners, and what do I need to do to make it work? Well, when I want to reach for them, before I can get into that, I kind of have to explain there's 2 types of fights in this comp, and it's really similar to what I talked about in the neutral, but it's just like whether we're trying to kill these people, right? There's a front to back fight, and when I say front to back, what I mean is we are playing to force CDs out of these 2 people. We're kind of like more stacky and just like 5-man shooting the Reaper or 5-man shooting the Malga, and we're trying to force this E or force, chunk him really hard, or force the fade. And once one of those 2 things happens, that's my big trigger to, I make my engage happen. I can kill the Reaper after the fade, or I can chase the Malga after the E or the pin, and I can kill those people, right? In that type of fight, if I'm reaching for backliners, it's because either the Juno stepped way out of line, or the Ekko stepped way out of line, or the Ekko flew for no reason, right? Otherwise, I'm just contributing to the damage front to back and helping to force that fade and helping to force that Malga E, right? And if I'm reaching for backliners in that type of fight, even if they stepped way out of line, usually I'm just trying to zone them like that first fight. I'm not actually reaching for a kill because my Reaper is helping my Malga shoot the enemy front line. And Reaper is a really big part of you successfully killing the enemy backline, right? So what's going to happen in this fight? Well, we don't really want to play front to back. We kind of want to, play to burst one of these people or maybe the Brig because they have Reaper and they have Cage. So if we play front to back, we can stack. Maybe we can force this fade or maybe we can force the E. But even if we do it properly, they're just going to pop a Cage. They're going to Reaper inside of it and we're just all going to die, right? So I can't win that way. I need to win the other way. I need to reach this Ekko or I need to reach this Juno. So what I'm going to do instead is my Reaper and my Malga are not going to stack together. My Reaper is going to TP in and scout for me. He's going to ping the Juno the whole time I'm going to hide, right? Or maybe sometimes Malga can do it if he can swing, but he can't see here, right? So my Reaper needs to do it. And then me and my Reaper are going to leave my Malga and my backline to kind of live on their own. Maybe my Malga will pin if we're crazy trading. And then I'm going to play off of my Reaper and assassinate this Juno, right? So he's not even doing anything. Watch. The Ekko's pinged. Now Proper's making that call. He's pinging Brig, right? I know what the backline is. I'm going to fly in now. And me and Proper are on the Juno together. Look how low Juno is when he gets inside this, right? And even though Junbin and Lip have 2 ults, excuse me, and Hanbin only has Cage, I need to take a drink. Sorry about that. They're able to get Shu, and he's saying low enough that they can trade them out inside this fight. And this is a successful reach for backline. So let's watch a couple other fights where there's successful backline reaches. This is one where they don't really want to play front to back because they have Cage, but the enemy team has copy. So we know they're going to just copy Reaper if we take this long fight. And Cage is probably not enough to just like burst down like a frontliner, right? Like they're just going to copy Reaper ult inside of our Cage with an E. It's going to be hard. So I want to bait them in a little bit. And as I bait them in as Ekko, I need to think of a hiding spot, right? This is a spot where I can just chill for a second and then I can reach after the Reaper pings for me, right? I don't want to be poking too much in this type of fight, or one, they're going to know where I am, but two, I'm going to take some damage. It's going to just be hard to reach, right? So I don't need to poke really hard in this type of fight. Two, look at the pinging that's going on, right? Reaper TP's in. He's just kind of chilling. The Juno, Proper knows where the Juno is, and Proper is forcing the Juno into the Ekko, right? The Reaper is actually doing the first part of the backline trading. The Juno's not really, or the Ekko's not really doing it, right? Then he pings Juno, right? So he starts to walk up. And this ping is super important. If you're an Ekko player, you need to be begging your team, ping the Juno right now. If I know it's this type of fight, I don't want to front to back, right? Ping the Juno on the way in, and I will kill her, right? Make that promise to your team. And if you miss the stickies, then just say, oh, you guys didn't ping the Juno or whatever bullshit you come up with, right? And just use that as your excuse. But that's super important, right? This type of fight is going to be really similar. But there's one extra condition where I can reach for backliners, and that's just if they step way out of line, right? If the Juno's just way too far up, or the Brig is way too far up, or whatever, I can just punish them for doing that, right? And it doesn't need to be much more complicated. If you ever see the Juno being really crazy, I can reach for it, right? But the thing is still, like, I'm waiting for my team to ping that he's out of line, because one, if I'm getting that scouting information, it's probably because I flew and now I don't have fly, right? So he's not wasting his fly on stupid idiot straight up in the air flies to get extra poke damage. I see so many Echoes do this, and they're flying just straight up in the air all the time would do this, right? He's just chilling because he knows his fly is going to be better in this mid fight. So they ping the Juno for him. He has fly, gets a full sticky and a beam, kills that guy, right? So super important. If you're an Ekko player, don't just randomly fly up in the air for no reason off CD, right? I'm holding this because I know in this neutral, either one of two things is going to happen, right? Their backline is not out of line and they're not doing that much damage, and I'll just get to swing really easily. My front line can win, and that's fine. Or their front line or the back line is going to step out of line, right? They're going to ping it for me, and then I'm going to reach for this in the mid fight, right? So we win either way. Second fight. Not second fight, sorry. If you are going to take like a front to back fight, sometimes it's more useful for you not to be doing the front to backing. So that's if we're going to take like, this is like a Cage and a Reaper ult fight. So we do really want to front to back. I want to play through these people, but I don't really get to swing anywhere where like I can take a neutral and like try and force one of these frontline CDs before the neutral, right? So if I can't afford to swing and try and force a fade or try and force a Maga E or a pin or something, But we still want to go quickly and go front to back. What I'm going to do instead is this is the fight where I'm going to try and reach and try and like zone people, or maybe I'm going to reach and like, you know, try and catch people that are going into the cage or something, right? But here he knows I can't really reach, like I can't fly this way, right? I'm going to get kept by the Ekko. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to chill, wait for a second. I'm going to fly up top because I know what's going to happen is when we're front to backing, and my Reaper, my Malga will win this fight if they get to just play fair, right? We're just going to build Reaper roll and we're going to Reaper roll and we're going to win front to back. The only way we lose this fight is if this Ekko or these people get value. So I can just gatekeep top and I can stop anyone from getting value. And if this Ekko and the Juno and the Brig play safe here to play to live, we'll just kill the people inside the cage and it's easy. And I know my team has this on lock. So I can afford to just fly up, gatekeep this Ekko, and bam, he was here trying to make a play because he has to, right? I get these stickies and I kill him. Right? It's really easy, right? And if he wasn't there, then I can just, you know, play top. I can shoot the cage and that's cool. But these type of fights where you know, like, if nothing crazy happens, my front line will just win this fight on their own, right? So this type of fight, I can kind of just limit the craziness factors that can happen, right? I'm just going to fly up. I'm going to kind of gatekeep the Ekko from doing anything crazy, make sure my Juno doesn't get traded, and then we'll just win this, like, keep the fight as fair as possible in this type of scenario. The rest of these are copies from now on. So how do I use copy? It's a little bit different from other ults because there's a lot of ways to use it, right? So there's faster copies and there's slower copies. Most of them are going to be Reaper copies, no matter how you're doing it. Sometimes a slow copy can be like a Malga copy in this comp. But if I'm going to copy fast, there's one thing I really need to understand. And it's that if I'm flying in to copy, right, like we're going first. So this fight, we're shooting the Reaper. He's low. And we know that these people are split. They're down one, right? He's saying he's coming back from spawn because they killed him earlier. So I know that we can go first here. I really want to go first with copy. I'm going to fly in. First of all, I'm pinging the Reaper. I know where he is, so I get this comfortable copy. But watch what he does. I'm going to turn around. And this is what you need to do on a fast copy. Because if I'm fast copying, the risk is that I'm going to be taking first aggro, right? And everyone's looking at me and they're going to burst my copy. So I need to know right away, are these people going to turn me? And is that a danger? Because if they are, and if they can, right? He sees this Malga's pinning here. I need to just chill, go back into my team. And we can play this front to back style. I'm shooting the Reaper. I'm just going to build an ult and just play the front to back. And we're going to kill the Malga. We're going to kill the Reaper. This kind of thing, right? And he didn't reach for those backliners, even though Lip and, you know, the Juno was kind of here alone, right? But you still can't reach for that. Because if you're reaching for that too far and you do get turned on, your copy will just get burned and you'll die. It'll suck. Right. Here's another slower copy where this is a fight where they're going kind of fast. Or sorry, this is another fast copy where he goes in, he TPs copies the Reaper the same way, but he looks behind him and he sees the Malga's pinning into my team, right? Which means I'm not going to get turned, right? The Reaper, I just saw the Reaper TP and the Malga TP, which means I'm free to do whatever I want. And what I want to do is I want to kill this Juno, right? If I can kill Juno, I will. Because I can go back and carry, you know, a front to back fight after I've killed the Juno. And we can just get the best of both worlds, right? So I'm fast copying. I see Reaper TP, I see Malga pin. I'm not in any danger. I can just greed this backline kill him. Bam, awesome. Now I go carry a front to back fight. It's easy, right? But if you're going to fast copy, keeping awareness of the enemy frontliners and making sure you're not going to get turned is incredibly important. Because if you're going first, there's a high chance the enemy frontliners will just turn around and try to burst your copy. And if you can avoid getting your copy bursted, you can just like fade out and play kind of chill, like behind your team, farm your Reaper roll, and it's really nice. Now these are two slower copies. This one, Hawkins is going in quickly, but they know it's kind of hard to reach, and they're playing for rally this fight, right? So I don't have like a Juno ult or a big Reaper ult or any burst. So I'm just going to copy Malga instead. I'm going to play behind my rally, and I'm just going to play a long fight, play an E for my rally, right? So if I'm playing for rally, or maybe if I know I'm going to copy and I'm just going to kind of stack with my team and play like a longer distance fight, I can play Malga here. You can copy Malga as long as you're not going to pin in first. Because if you pin in first on a copy Malga, you'll just die, right? But if I can stack with my team, get a second knee, it's not actually that bad, right? Especially if I know there's no cages involved, right? Because if there's cages involved, Reaper's almost always better. Because Reaper just does way more in the cage. Like if you're Malga copying in a cage, you're just going to die, right? But now one more slow copy. They're playing a bait. They know the enemy has cage. All they have is copy. But I know if I play slow, I'll build this rally and I'll build this cage in this mid fight, right? So I'm just trying to extend this long enough to build those ults. So we bait. Their Mauga is the only one that gets caught in. Ekko goes in. He copies the Reaper. We're Eing. We're just playing slow. Now we get that rally. We can carry this. And the important part about this is if you're Reaper copying in this type of fight, I kind of want to shoot whoever I can that lets me move closer to the backline. Because as I get this Reaper roll, I do want to get to the backliners if I can. And so if you notice, right at the beginning of this, the Mauga pins to his left, right? And it's tempting to turn and shoot this, but he doesn't. He keeps going with Lip because he knows if I shoot this guy, if I keep, shooting this guy and moving this way, I'll get to Reaper roll in the spot I actually want to Reaper ult in, right? Even though shooting the Mauga probably lets me build the Reaper ult faster. If you watch when he gets it here, he just gets to rip it the second he gets it, and he kills Shu because of it, right? Which is really important. If he was farming that Mauga, he probably wouldn't have killed Shu. But yeah, these are all the examples I have. So to recap really quickly, the neutral is about understanding my triggers. I don't want to just fly randomly, right? Because if I'm ever doing random flies, one, I won't be there if enemy Juno steps out of line or enemy Ekko steps out of line. But two, I'm the only thing stopping Ekko from flying aggressively and zoning me or zoning my backliners, right? And I'm punishing enemy Ekkos that do that. If they ever fly in the neutral, I can fly and I can start to zone that Ekko, zone that Juno, and my team can just stack together and walk. It's really easy. Otherwise, I'm just playing to force the Reaper TP or Reaper fade. I'm playing to just farm my copy off the Mauga, and I'm playing a slow neutral until I get what I want to reach those backliners. When I'm looking to reach backliners, start a fight is if I know it's a super fast fight and we can't afford to play front to back, or we can't afford to force frontline CDs, right? Maybe the map just doesn't allow us to really swing them. And I know if I swing them, they're just going to go in on us first and kill us. I'm just going to reach for those backliners. I'm going to let my Reaper TP in. I'm going to let my people ping the Juno for me. I'm not doing the scouting myself, right? And then I'm going to kind of be the follow-up as they kind of force the Juno into me, right? Or the Ekko into me. And then copy usage, almost always are copy Reapers. Occasionally a copy Mauga is fine. But if I'm going first, not getting your copy bursted is super, super, super important. So copy, look behind you, regain awareness of the situation, see what's going on, right? If I'm going to copy slow, right, it's pretty easy. I can just use my team to body block. I'm providing the extra sustain and it's all cool. But I did do a longer version where I prepped this video on his stream. So I might link that on like a second channel or something if anyone wants like the longer form content. It was like 1 or 2 hours. But otherwise, I'll see you guys later.